The time is 11:44 p.m. And this is the Ontario Police are engaging in criminal summoning. Like I stated, criminal summoning serves the monitoring on devices. It's a light activity while they are stalking, physically stalking around the targeted individual in concert with the people of the state. And the entity is doing so while I am looking at what the entity has engaged in on my devices. Pay attention to what it is that I documented today in Pomona, California, Fontana, California, Montclair, California, Ontario, California. The entity is engaging in tampering with the documentation that's published online. The entity is going to federal prison for this, okay? But this is letting you know that it is indeed the evidence of monitoring, the evidence of surveillance on the internet. The entity is indeed engaged in stalking, is aware that they're being documented as a stalker, targeting someone in furtherance of taking that person's life. And as the evidence is gathered, including the people of the state who are engaging in this stalking system, trying to murder somebody, knowing that they're being documented as a stalker and a co-conspirator of murder, and still engaging in it. And so this is the entity. There's nothing wrong with my account. And the entity engaged in what is tampering with my account. This is the entity that's engaging as I went into both of all of the accounts. So I opened them up so that you can see them. And then as I'm going back into my accounts, this is what's from these days, right? April 1st, April 2nd, April 3rd, today's April 4th. April 4th is when I went to Pomona today, I went to Fontana today, I went through Montclair today, captured damning evidence again. I've done this before regarding the fake son. And remember, before I did that, Casada, the Ontario Police, all those gang members and the gang members who are the people of the state thought that it was an excellent idea in concert with Omnitrans to engage in gang stalking, criminal summoning with the Ontario Fire Department. They engaged in stalking this circus conduct with the planes, Southwest Airlines, doing cartwheels, all manner of dipping like they're landing right there at San Antonio. They did all that, and then I left, documented it, and I went right on to Pomona and documented the entity gang stalking me and doing so at the same time while the fake son is over me and in a different county, in a different city. And I'm documenting the people of the state capturing their license plates, identifying terrorists who are conspiring my murder in real time while I'm being gang stalked in Pomona, to Montclair, to Fontana. And the entity is on the internet in real time, even right now, while Union Pacific is monitoring, while El Bacon is monitoring, while the people of the state are monitoring, and the Ontario Police, who are monitoring in real time, immediately engage in what is criminal summoning at approximately 11:39 p.m. They're doing so while they are manufacturing what is a block to my Google account. Okay, this is a product of criminal monitoring, and like I stated, Google is a third party. YouTube are engaged in what is monitoring, and the entities engaged in what is blocking information, documentation that was captured today. Okay, this is the entity that's going to federal prison. Let me be clear. It is down to even the people of the state that are documented, and the entity blocks that information like this. They're going to federal prison. This is how you must punish and prosecute terrorists who think that they will murder you, stalk you, hunt you down, terrorize you on behalf of the government, and then you will engage in what is just taking that evidence from that person and continuously stalking and hunting them down. These are the terrorists who are the Nephilim. These are the terrorists who are the gang members of the state of California. And I want to be clear, this is that beast system. It is going to be met with putting terrorists where they belong. And the entity in Ontario, California is engaging in this on behalf of the state. They're doing this on behalf of the demons in Pomona, on behalf of the demons in Fontana, on behalf of the demons in Montclair. And they're doing so while they are sitting around stalking in emergency vehicles, sounding sirens and molesting me with impossible light. No sirens and lights are going to cause any light activity on the bench beside me. These are demons like Casada who are engaging in what is terrorism while they're being documented, while they're being proven as vagina monitors, and then they engage in ongoing terrorism and psychological torture tactics such as stalking you with light while they are demon possessed, engaging in monitoring you before they murder you. This is relevant. There is nothing wrong with my accounts. The entity is the one that's monitoring, and this is a tactic regarding what is federal stalking on the venue of the internet. It is currently 11:48 p.m. This is relevant to criminal acts of obstruction of justice. This is what's showing up on my phone the moment that I enter in my phone number to access my account, which was blocked from my ability to access it. And as I begin that process, after looking at my accounts that are fully accessible, the entity that's engaging in monitoring that, stalking me, keeping me under surveillance and my devices without any warrant or probable cause or legitimate interest, immediately uses criminal summoning. That's the city of Ontario that you saw doing that today under the fake sun at the Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard. Sounding sirens, Ontario Fire Department, that's Michael Gherkin. Ontario Police Department, that's Mike Lorenz. While the entity is gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport, that's Alan D. Wapner. The entities that's engaging in this and is doing so while they are blocking evidence regarding what is going to be published to the public, to the world, including the fact that they engaged in this criminal act. Mike Lorenz is going to prison. Understand, this is the evidence that's also putting him away. This is the conduct of what are brutal murderers who are seeking to, and under a delusion, you're not going to conceal any terrorist, and also they're going to prison now. What would be perhaps a federal case, a prosecution as a terrorist, is going to be now prison time, because they act as an entity. No third party whose information is being blocked by the demons that are monitoring on the device, they're not doing so as any innocent bystander. This is the entity's pattern of conduct. If I'm in Pomona, they do the same exact thing regarding any acts of terrorism that are documented at any location. They are one entity. That's why the entity is targeting me with regard to whoever it is that I'm documenting. No brokey that's on welfare is actually concerned in the physical about what Alan D. Wapner is looking like on my device. However, because they are the same demon-possessed entity, because they are the same corrupt entity, these demons whose rent Alan D. Wapner is not paying are engaging in terrorizing and harassing me like they did at Woodside Senior Apartments, where Alan D. Wapner could not care less if these old people don't get their prescriptions, and when they're living on the street outside, because that's what's coming. The entities engage in this because they are one entity of one criminal objective, and they are engaging in criminal activity together, just as though you were taking a hammer to my phone because I'm taking a picture of your license plate. It's the same way. While Mike Lorenz is engaging in what is criminal obstruction of justice, monitoring on my device, while these demons are engaged in sexual assault and battery via engineered light, while they're engaged in criminal summoning, while they're engaged in ongoing harassment because they're engaging in what is monitoring evidence, which are speaking to the harms inherent to a government and a population keeping an American citizen under surveillance, an American citizen who is going to document and enforce their constitutional and human rights. Okay? This is P.O.C. This is the entities engaged in that. Remember what I documented this morning. While Omnitrans is not arriving because Omnitrans is a gang stalker, as I capture screenshots of what that bus route is and what should have happened and didn't happen, and as I capture that video, who arrives? Magically. No, it's not magic. It's real-time surveillance. And I want to be clear, it's the same manner. This is what the entities engaging in surveillance, and they're doing so with regard to the entity that is on the venue of the internet monitoring, okay? This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's doing so regarding April 2nd. So I want you to see, I'm going to open each one because this is what should be accessible to the public. The ongoing engagement in blocking access. Let me close all of these again. The ongoing engagement in blocking access to evidence is a federal offense. It's a criminal act of obstruction of justice, and it is mandating federal prison. And that is already the case for terrorists like, for example, Hernandez, who's gang stalking at Superior Grocer, where the evidence of Hernandez is being blocked by tampering with my evidence, which is intellectual property. You're getting into what is stealing intellectual property as well. Doing so with the intent to obstruct justice. While you're engaged in federal stalking, no warrant or probable cause. In furtherance of murder. While you are already engaging in what is theft of property, oppressing that targeted individual who is sleeping outside while you're still stalking. And I'm getting video evidence of that on a daily basis. The entity is engaging in this, and that is exposing that terrorist, Jay Hernandez, the subject of said intellectual property. That state actor is also subject to prison. Understand how they're engaging in what is a criminal objective altogether, stealing the evidence, and also doing so with regard to the one that's actually engaging, for example, Ontario Police using their sirens and lights, monitoring on my device, in addition to whatever evidence and the subject of that evidence that is being removed, that is being stolen. Okay? That's the entity that is engaging in criminal conduct together. All right, with the same criminal purpose. I want to make sure that that's understood. So April 1st, this is all published information today. The entity is engaging in what is blocking it, and I want to publish this information. The entity is going to be subject to federal prison. This is the criminal activity of Mike Lorenz of the Ontario Police Department, of the City of Ontario. Okay, so it looks like April 1st is accessible still, and it should be. All of it should be. April 2nd. Okay, April 2nd is accessible still. April 2nd, folder 1. Hold on. April 2nd, folder 2. Because this is what I just did, and this is what you're finding here. So this would block your ability to see. This is the entity that's monitoring on my device. Okay, my Google accounts are still open. Didn't change anything. I'm not changing anything. The entity's monitoring on my phone. This is not an error. This is the entity that's engaging in what is seeking to block. And I want to be clear. This is Mike Lorenz. These are these demons who are not magical, who are not brave, who are not courageous, who are not gangsters. All right, you see them stalking me in helicopter. They're scared to death. They are petrified. That's why they're engaging this. Number one, they're punks. Number two, this is federal prison. They're going to be punks. They're going to be cowards in prison. Okay? So I just want to be clear on that. Let's not be mistaken here. Everybody that's looking at, they're being defiant. They're being, strong. No, they're not. They're punks. They're vagina monitoring cowards who are petrified, sitting around sounding their sirens out of fear. And it is equally a federal offense as well. They're out here engaging in what is slinging light around, harassing while they're demon psychopaths, okay? Absurdly psychotic. Stalking with engineer light, monitoring demons who are scared to death. The living dead who are fearful regarding the truth that I speak, the power of this evidence. Because they've been caught and it's over, and they're still engaging in criminal activity. There are consequences, federal ones, for what I'm documenting right now, okay? Just want to be clear, this right here, that's the evidence of a punk. These are punks. They're cowards. They're scared. Satan lost, okay? These are not big, strong men and women of law enforcement. These are cowards, and they lost. They are humiliated, and they are scared to death, and you should be. You're going to prison. You're going to prison. So let's keep looking at this. I just want to make sure that you understand everything that this means. These are cowards. This is what's out here murdering people. You're not gang stalking people because you're strong. You're not gang stalking people because you're competent. You're gang stalking people because you're a punk, because you're insecure, because you're psychotic, because you hate your own self in your life. You hate your own pores. You hate your hair follicles. You hate your cuticles. You hate your eyeball sockets. You hate everything about yourself. That's why you're gang stalking other people. That's why you're all in between their legs monitoring their genitalia. That's why you're out stalking in the middle of the night in a whole helicopter, in planes, showing the world how deranged you are and how much you need that 23-hour lockdown. That's why you're doing that. And that's why they're targeting this evidence, because that's how potent it is. That's how potent it is. All right, this is the entity that's engaging. These are losers. These are losers. This is a campaign regarding the exposure of Satan, who is a loser, and everybody that was deceived and tricked and bamboozled into following him. You're losers. And that's the truth. You're losers. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I'm having to go through this evidence because you're scared about me getting evidence, but you're supposed to be the OG, triple OG triples, right? Gang stalking me into a psychiatric coma? I don't think so. You're going to prison. And it's pathetic. Everybody is laughing at you while you're headed there. Everybody's laughing at you while I'm making a spectacle of you, even being scared of my evidence. This is how pathetic you are. While you're sitting up worshiping my vagina, searching for used tampons in the trash can. You're pathetic. This is the P.O.C. This is the reality of the demon-possessed, okay? In real life, only in the demons that make these Hollywood movies, those are demons. Only in real life, Satan does not win. He does not. That's the truth. He is a deceiver. He bamboozles you. He hustles you. He bullies you. He tricks you. He is a loser. I'm showing you all of the tricks that he engages in. He's a punk, and he knows that I know that. And that's why I'm the one telling you the truth. And I'm not going to mince my words. Satan is a coward. He is a punk. He gets away with what he thinks he can get away with. And he's a spirit, and he's using these cowards in California, and I'm dragging them. I'm dragging them by the skin of their foreheads. And they're going to prison. All All right, this is P.O.C. This is pathetic. You can hear it through the tone of my voice. This is pathetic. They can't even take their loss as men and women. That's because they're not. They're demons. They're creatures. They're roaches. That's why. That's why they're engaging in this. Is pathetic. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But I'm going to document this because this is my job. I'm prosecuting you. And I'm also exposing in my prosecution how much Satan is unworthy to listen to. He's a liar. Give your life to Christ Jesus today. He's the winner. He's the champion. And Satan has done everything to deceive that. And he is controlling this world, the prince of the air, to make it look like anything other than that. He is a loser. He's dragging people to hell every single day. I'm sitting out here winning. There is no helicopter activity that's going to change that. You can't silence that. And it speaks volumes while you're out here scared of my evidence. It's pathetic. It is pathetic. It is so pathetic. You get no respect from me. None whatsoever. This is P.O.C. I'm going to keep on opening these folders. Because this is the entity. I just want to be clear. The U.S. government is going down. This is the beast system. This is the end of any secrecy regarding that. And you're witnessing what is the ongoing loss of everything that this entity has stolen. They're going to run me all of my money, and they are going into poorhouses. They're going to prison. They're going to mental institutions. They're literally going to be outside. I'm not playing. They're going to be living outside. And not only that, they're going to be placed into that circumstance that the government is not going to help them, because they will be noted and documented and, documented with regard to what is being convicted, identified as a matter of public record. Terrorists. You're not getting any government assistance anywhere. Nobody's helping you pay rent. Nobody's going to help you buy Tylenol. You're not getting assistance with anything as a terrorist. They will be outside and they're going to stay outside. This is P.O.C. Messing with my evidence, it's too late. What you should have did is stop targeting years ago. Targeting my evidence is getting you more time in prison. And it's showing how much of a coward you are. Sitting up stalking me with your back to me under a fake sun, showing how psychotic you are. You and your demon-possessed children, you bring your whole family to target me. It's pathetic. It is so pathetic. And then you want to run from the evidence about it. And have the audacity to run your mouth in public. Have an attitude because you can't monitor my vagina in secret. This is the type of psychosis that I'm confronted with. And it's all the same spirit of Satan. Satan, who is a loser and cannot stand the fact that I speak that without any hesitation, because it's the truth. It is the truth. And tampering with the government, the federal government is going to prosecute you, you will regret that. You will regret it. This is P.O.C. These gang members of the Ontario Police Department, they have no career. They have no future in law enforcement. It is over. It is entirely over. They will not be securing toy stores. They won't even be able to sweep up the bathroom at a police station. I'm making sure that they're done with law enforcement. You're not going anywhere ever bearing a weapon, having anything to do with law enforcement. You will forever be linked to gang stalking Erica Spencer. You want to monitor me? You're going to remember me for the rest of your life. You're going to remember me. All right, this is the entity that's gang stalking. Let me go ahead and open these. I'm going to open up the rest of these folders because I want you to see, all the folders, all the ways in which that is blocked. This is obstruction of justice. And this is, again, the government that's engaging in criminal surveillance, gang stalking, is doing so on your devices, doing so on the internet, doing so also physically in my path. This is the stalking by helicopter, the stalking by criminal summoning while in relevant position to me while I'm using my device, putting information on the internet where the government has no authority under the law to engage in surveilling me in that manner. This is how you're getting to all the ways in which the government is then lying, such as the March 2nd, 2026 lie regarding being in the bathroom and capturing what would have to be something pornographic, something sexually perverted, which is not the case, but Ovid Family Community Library, nonetheless, that is gang stalking, engaging in surveillance, in fact, is lying. And on March 3rd, I'm given a written admission, because that's how it's going to be used in court, regarding what is an unlawful and invalid and malicious assertion regarding why I've been removed from that venue without even any confrontation. Nobody said anything because nothing happened, number one. But number two, they're engaging in surveillance, and then they're referring to my evidence, which they have no interest in. You don't. It's freedom of speech, number one, and number two, it's the government that is being documented for vagina monitoring, and this is the evidence that they are in fact engaged in vagina monitoring. Surveillance on my devices, surveillance on the internet, while these poor liars want to talk about, oh, and then we discovered on February 25th, it was brought to our attention after March 2nd, when nothing happened on March 2nd, nothing happened with regard to my documentation at Open Family Community Library, that is, but the entity is engaging in surveillance. The entity that's engaged in surveillance, which is very much petrified by the level of evidence proof that I have, and expelling me from that venue, again, like removing my evidence off the internet, again, is going to expose you to more time in prison. That's the only way. You are not getting out of anything. You only make it worse on yourself. And it shows how pathetic they are. This is P.O.C., and that's what's relevant with regard to every lie that is uttered by an entity of stalkers. This is the entity that is full of a bunch of incompetent, inferior demons that are engaging in criminal activity that they cannot hide. They're not sharp enough to hide anything. They can't hide anything. They're out here gang stalking, pacing back and forth. That's what this is. Pacing back and forth. A demon at the square in engineer light, pacing back and forth like a psychopath that's monitoring somebody with multiple shadows. Okay, this is pathetic. This is the entity, and you need to know what demons are and what they're engaging in California. Don't invite this person over to around your kids. Don't invite people like this to your home. Don't have them around people that you care about. They're vagina monitoring sex offenders, gang stalking in California, and they are not going to openly advertise that to you. That's another reason why I expose the demon possessed. Okay, this is P.O.C. out here stalking a woman. That is a threat to you, and it's something that you need to know about. All right, that's what's gang stalking me with the Ontario Police Department. This is what is engaging in what is monitoring. They want to gang stalk and then they want to block that evidence at the same time. That's a co-conspirator of murder. That's a coward. That's a sex offender that doesn't want to be exposed. That's a threat to national security. It's a population of them. And they are the Nephilim. This is the beast system. This is state surveillance. All right, this is that P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in that. This is the entity that is blocking these accounts. So I wanted to get that on video. Throughout the course of my video, I'm going to go ahead and show you. I've already captured this before. But right here where I'm sitting at the Ontario Town Square, Ontario Police Department stalking by helicopter right here. All right, they did so silently. I don't have to capture video. Everybody already knows I've got hundreds of videos on a daily, nightly basis. They're stalking, and they're stalking right now while I'm announcing to everybody what you already know. Because you are nothing but a punk stalking a woman and climbing in a helicopter to make you feel like you're doing something. And you're still not doing anything. I'm still embarrassing you on the internet. And you're too slow to realize that that's not a good tactic anymore, because it certainly isn't stopping that prosecution. But this is the entity that's doing that. I want to document that. It is currently, like you can see, it's 12:07 a.m. This is the entity that's monitoring, keeping my website under surveillance, keeping my platforms under surveillance. And they're doing so with regard to criminal activity, which I have documented before, obstruction of justice. It's not protecting Tracy Banks. It's not protecting Jason Fields. It's not protecting Mike Lorenz. It's not protecting Sean Thrasher. It's not protecting the kidnappers at the Upland Public Library of the Upland Police Department. It's not protecting those that are engaging in criminal summoning at the Fontana Lewis Library. It's not protecting the gang stalkers in Pomona, California. It's not protecting those that I've documented. If you engage in the criminal pattern of conduct, which I documented, and as the rules go, you're going to prison, guess what? You're going to prison. While you engage in acts of obstruction like this, all you're doing is confirming that you are indeed that criminal that the P.O.C. shows you to be. Proving that surveillance is underway. Not that I needed some unintelligent vagina monitor to aid in that, to corroborate that. I did that on my own. But while they engage in these tactics, this is confirmation for you who are witnessing the demon-possessed who are fearful of one person. That's why they're all gang stalking. It's not because you're inferior. It's not because you're a fool. It's not because you're some black sheep. It's because you are the one that is called by the Lord God. You are the one who is, what they don't want to admit, superior. Because you don't cave into the pressure of Satan, who is a liar. They're all fearful. They're all inferior. They're all followers. And they're following to the pit of hell. That's where they're going. Where losers go, that's where they are going. This is P.O.C. Ontario police are stalking. They are stalking on the roads and the highways, engaging in criminal summoning. Criminal summoning is an act within surveillance. All right, they're engaged in what is tracking the steps of American citizens, tracking them when they engage in using their lights and sirens. It's within a surveillance system. LAPD is engaging in surveillance when they turn on their lights and sirens. And then they run over somebody in the middle of the street. It is not an act where they're unaware of who's in the street and who's where. It's the exact opposite. Criminal summoning, as the Ontario Police Department has shown you, as the City of Upland have shown you, the criminal summoning where they're using their lights and their sirens is an act of surveillance where they're tracking. They're literally engaging it based on their knowledge real time of what you're doing, where you're at, how you're doing it, what you're saying. All right, everything pertaining to you. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is relevant to federal stalking on the video of the internet. The entity engaging in this, Google is a third party. This is relevant to the prosecution of the entity that is on the video of the internet engaging in surveillance. This is relevant to tampering with the real-time investigation. And this is relevant to the entity that lied in court regarding my character. This is showing the character of that entity that's engaged in what is lying on me, lying on my character, stealing my money, kidnapping me, accusing me of crimes that, again, I did not commit, while they're lying about my character as to why they should have my money, why they are able to entertain a court case, court hearings in my absence. All of this that they're doing, that I'm showing you regarding evidence on the internet, is revealing the character of this entity altogether. The people of the state stealing my money, having access to my money, knowledge of it, while they are liars, trying to cover up criminal activity, trying to cover up and conceal their identity. This is relevant, this is probative regarding their character. It's relevant in every regard. These are thieves, they're demons, these are murderers, they're thieves, and they're violent sex offenders. They're sex traffickers, they're pedophiles, okay? They're money launderers. These are the lowest of the low that are gang stalking. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:11 a.m. on Sunday, April 5th, 2026.